The sixth sense, the door to the temple of wisdom. The 13th step towards riches. The 13th principle is known as the sixth sense, through which infinite intelligence may and will communicate voluntarily without any effort from or demands by the individual. This principle is the apex of the philosophy. It can be assimilated, understood, and applied only by first mastering the other 12 principles. The sixth sense is that portion of the subconscious mind which has been referred to as the creative imagination. It has also been referred to as the receiving set, through which ideas, plans, and thoughts flash into the mind. The flashes are sometimes called hunches or inspirations. I'd like to hear if anyone has experienced this. I myself, when I was making my piece of art, had an experience with the sixth sense where the name dragon skin just came into my mind. And this is the best way I can describe it. The sixth sense. You know, I had no idea of the concept. I was just working away like sticking stones on my layered base, which I created. And the name dragon skin just kind of shot into my mind. So the sixth sense defies description. It cannot be described to a person who has not mastered the other principles of this philosophy, because such a person has no knowledge and no experience with which the sixth sense may be compared. Understanding of the sixth sense comes only by meditation through mind development from within. The sixth sense probably is the medium of contact between the finite mind of man and infinite intelligence. And for this reason, it is a mixture of both the mental and the spiritual. It is believed to be the point at which the mind of man contacts the universal mind. After you have mastered the principles described in this book, you will be prepared to accept as truth a statement which may otherwise be incredible to you, namely, through the aid of the sixth sense, you will be warned of impending dangers in time to avoid them and notified of opportunities in time to embrace them. Now, I don't know if in 1937, when this was written, they knew that we had like brains in our gut, but now I'm pretty sure most people have heard that we have like a second brain in our gut. And, you know, I don't know if you have experienced such a feeling in your gut, like a knowing, like an intuitive gut feeling. We've all heard it. I can explain one that I ignored and I suffered the consequences. Basically, I went for a job, like this prestigious opportunity. And as soon as I met my employer, I just knew, like in my gut, that it wasn't going to work. But it was like, because it seemed like such a good opportunity, like the money was going to be great. It was like a relocation to a great city. Like I convinced myself, I even consulted someone else. I was like, you know, do you think this is the right thing to do? And they're like, of course it is. Like you couldn't turn it down. And you're like, oh yeah, like of course. But you know, like in your gut that it's wrong. So how do you explain that? And I also wanted to touch on, I feel like there's a difference between intuition and impulsiveness. You know, an impulsive idea might be to say something mean in the heat of a moment, or, you know, to go and like use drugs or something. And it's like you've got this sort of inner feeling, you know, that's different to intuition. Intuition is like I had the impulse or the intuitive idea to decorate a hat. And I had in the back of my mind, I'd look at this black hat in my wardrobe. It was just sitting there and I thought, it's so boring, like I should decorate it like the hat I've seen that inspired me, worn by Lady Gaga in 2018. Amazing. And then like life got hard last year. I was just thinking like, you know, I could go and get high right now, just go and fuck myself up and escape my life. But instead, I chose a different path. I was like, I'm going to decorate a hat. I'm going to go and buy the glue. I'm going to go and buy the stones. I'm going to sit my ass down at that fucking table. I'm going to stay away from people who use drugs, toxic old friends, dark places to go back to. And instead, I'm going to decorate my hat. And I just sat there and it was like I was having a healthy escape. It was like a healthy escape. It was better than using drugs. And yeah, I just got in touch with my intuition again. You know, I could feel these ideas coming to me. And also, if you study this book, you have to write down your affirmation, your goals, and you say it over and over again, and you get ideas. You know, you connect to the sixth sense. And you know, if anyone out there is stressed and anxious, I highly recommend you just do a little meditation and just sit there and just take 10 deep breaths and just go, just say to yourself something like, everything is always working out for me. Everything is always working out for me. And once you quiet your mind, just see if you get any kind of intuitive idea. Just see. And, you know, if you're someone who's thinking about using drugs again, like going to get high, maybe you should try something different. Getting a bit off topic there, but anyway. Let's go back to this. There comes to your aid and to your bidding, with the development of the sixth sense, a guardian angel who will open to you at all times the door to the temple of wisdom. Well, whether or not this is a statement of truth, you will never know, except by following the instructions described in the pages of this book or some similar method of procedure. The author is not a believer in nor an advocate of miracles, nor for the reason that he has enough knowledge of nature to understand that nature never deviates from her established laws. Some of her laws are so incomprehensible that they produce what appear to be miracles. The sixth sense comes as near to being a miracle as anything I have ever experienced, and it appears so only because I do not understand the method by which this principle is operated. Look, this is a great book. It's sort of got that very old style English. Sometimes it's a bit hard to read. There's a version of it on YouTube where it's read out in its entirety, which really helped me get through the whole book, because you can just follow along, you can listen, and it's like he's got the phrasing right. So if you kind of struggle with reading like big words and long phrases, getting that sort of reading on YouTube, it's just been life-changing. But yeah, I was having an intuitive nudge to do like a talking video. I've been making heaps of art and using like great music, background music, which I love, but you know, it's not mine. And anyway, I wanted to do like a little talking video about just following those intuitive nudges, you know, following those gut feelings. Like, if you're unhappy in a job and you can leave it, you've got this gut feeling that you should stop going, like maybe you should stop. It might be a hard choice, but it'll be better for you in the long run if you start doing those things that you want, listening to those things inside, and making those hard decisions, like to say no to people that you have to and saying yes to yourself. You know, people pleasing is the killer of intuition, right? You know, wanting to keep the people around you happy because like your intuitive nudge is saying, no, don't go to that thing because you'll get hurt. Stay away, keep yourself safe. But like people pleasing says, you need to go to keep these people pleased. You know, you can't let down the team or whatever. But then you go home at the end of the day, you're depressed, you can't look in the mirror, you can't get out of bed. No, you have to let those people down and let yourself, you know, feel good. One last thing before I call it, something that helped me so much just get out of like dark, useless places where I could do not much at all, was a comment that Louise Hay made, and it was about, similar to intuition, I feel, your heartbeat is controlled by your brain. You know, your heart constantly beats and it's connected to this like electronic impulse in your brain, which you don't have to think about, you don't have to control, it just happens. And if you stop thinking about it, it's not going to stop working. So that's kind of how you have to go about your life, you know? Like if you just sort of stop and feel this like intuitive nudge to do something, you're just going to do it naturally. And since I started following that, I've just made heaps of art, made heaps of better choices for myself, you know? Like I've not gone back to toxic friendships, I've not gone into situations where I felt awful afterwards, and I'm starting to feel empowered, I'm starting to feel better about myself, I'm starting to be more healthy, and I'm starting to create things rather than spend my precious energy getting drug fucked and disappearing from my life and my loved ones for a whole weekend, coming back a shell of a human being, you know? Now I'm going into like healthy habits. Get connected to your sixth sense. Sixth sense. Believe it's possible. And I just wanted to say thank you to that random girl who popped up on my YouTube. And it was like, I had this sort of realization, like this girl who I don't know is talking to me and helping me with some knowledge. And you know, there's maybe people around her that she knew, same with me, there may be people around me that I know that might look at me and go, what the hell is this? But that person on the other side of the world on their phone who's watching this now and getting that help that they need, that's what it's about. That's why I'm doing this. And I hope that whoever is feeling like they want to relapse today or this weekend, you're in a low point and you think, I could go and get fucked up, but I really don't want to do it. I really don't want to do that to myself. I hope this video helps you to make a different choice. You know, go try that art, go try that painting, drawing, go to that sport, go to that dance, go to whatever's in the back of your mind that you've been thinking about that's going, you should do this that you've not been doing. Go and do it.